All right, you guys have been asking for it. 100 adhesion CarX Drift Racing FD competition here. We got 16 drivers on Biker Nieki ready to go. We're gonna be taking you guys through a quick demo run, and then we're gonna get this competition underway. All right, guys, we got H1 here to help us with our demo run. The way the launch is gonna work is our lead driver is gonna flash their lights, and the follow driver is gonna flash their lights. As soon as the follow driver flashes, you're good to go. It's a drag race into T1. You can enter however is most comfortable. I'm gonna enter straight here. You're gonna wanna stay off that inside zone. You're not gonna wanna drop a tire. You're gonna go outside there as I correct a little bit into this outside zone. Then you have an inner clip into another outside as you build some speed through here, over here into the next outside, and then you're gonna wanna decelerate just a little bit as you get into this whole outside section as I bog my car out real bad. You go out towards the wall and try and keep it out there. And you're gonna try and keep it nice and clean. Now, lead driver is gonna be judged based on their line and angle, whereas the follow driver is gonna be judged on their line, angle, and proximity to that lead driver. Now, we do have a $100 gift card to give away to the winner of this competition today, which makes it even more exciting, so let's get this competition underway. All right, guys, starting off our absolutely stacked invitational bracket, we have Central versus Dark. All right, guys, here we go. Run number 1, we got Central in the lead, Dark in the follow. Central gets a nice launch here. Dark's gonna try and make up some lost ground before the initiation. Nice little flick from Central. Dark is a couple car lengths behind. I'm actually surprised to see it. Dark did run inside just a little bit there to make up some lost ground as they go into outside number 2, into inside, into outside number 3, and Central is keeping that distance there. Dark, though, gets up huge distance on that transition as he goes a little bit too far and over-rotates into that outside zone. Central is looking pretty good on his lead here. That's crazy, man. And here we go, guys. We got Central on the follow this time, Dark on the lead. We're gonna see what Central can do on the follow here. He's at a huge advantage based on that lead run. Dark with a really clean initiation. Central, better proximity, though, a little bit better line as we go through that first section. Dark's gonna pull away a little bit as the drivers build some speed here. Really clean to that inside, back to the outside. Dark looking for that OMT. We're gonna see if he can force it. Honestly, Central looking a little bit better with his proximity so far, and he's not gonna bobble into the wall. It's looking pretty good for Central here, as Central right on Dark's door on that follow. We're gonna talk to chat, but I'm thinking that Central might actually move on. And there it is, guys. Central is gonna defeat an NTNS legend in Dark here in round 1. Up next, we have Exige versus Enju. Here we go, guys. Run number 2, we got Enju on the follow here, is actually winning his launch. He's gonna wait up a little bit here as Resentment gets back out to the outside. Nice initiation from both drivers here. Enju is our driver to beat from practice. He was super solid all night, and you guys are gonna see why right here. Super tight on his follow. Resentment doing everything he can to pull ahead, but it's not gonna work for him. Enju absolutely glued to his door. A solid lead from Resentment, but is it gonna be enough here? It is not, as he goes inside and spins his car. Enju's looking pretty good. And here we go, guys. Resentment on the follow, Enju on the lead this time. Same launch here for Resentment. He's actually gonna pull ahead a little bit at the beginning. Enju's gonna pull back ahead as he initiates. Really solid initiation from both drivers here. Enju's gonna try and pull ahead a little bit. It's already looking pretty good for him as he tries to extend his lead, and it's working out pretty well for him. All he has to really do is finish out the line nice and clean here, and we're gonna see Enju move on as we get a huge surge from Resentment. We're not gonna fault our lead driver here for hitting the wall, as it looks like Enju is gonna move on. And there it is, guys. Enju's gonna move on into round number 2. After that, we have H1 versus HB. And here we go, guys. H1 in the lead, HB in the follow here. H1 in that Mark 5 Super, struggling to pull ahead a little bit on launch, and he does make it up ahead a little bit here as he initiates nice and smooth, very wide. HB goes a little bit too far inside there on that first outside zone. H1's looking pretty solid on his lead. HB trading a little bit of angle there for the sake of speed. Is it gonna work out for him? H1 solid lead line here, no mistakes, no faults, and a little bit of contact there from our chase driver as he bobbles up just a little bit. And H1 with a super solid lead is looking pretty good as we head into his follow. And here we go, guys. We got H1 on the follow. He's looking pretty good after his lead run here. HB is gonna pull ahead pretty aggressively on the launch. H1's got some work to do on his follow, but with that solid lead, he just needs to keep it consistent, keep his distance relatively tight here. HB's looking at speed, though. HB's trying to pull away. He's giving H1 a run for his money as H1 does surge on him here as we get a little bit slower into this last outside zone. H1 is not quite as wide as HB into this last outside section. We may have to talk with chat here, see if we go with H1 or if HB was able to force that OMT. All right, guys, so after a little bit of chat consultation here, the result was not clear enough. We're gonna run the OMT. We got HB back on the follow, H1 on the lead. Whenever you guys are ready, go right ahead. And here we go, guys. H1 and HB off for run number 2 here. I'm honestly surprised that there wasn't a clear answer. I thought HB was gonna be eliminated based on the contact on his transition, but H1 on his second lead here is gonna pull ahead into that first outside zone. HB is going to catch him through the second one and into the inside clip here. H1 a little bit wider on his lead line as well. HB does get back to his door, but floats out a little wide here. And both drivers into the wall a little bit. HB a little worse than H1, though, as he does grip up and straighten out slightly. We're gonna see how they do as we move the drivers into the opposite positions. And here we go, guys. Follow number 2 for H1 is a little bit slow on the launch here. HP is gonna peel out on the launch here. H1 gonna try and make up some lost ground through his first couple sections. He's gonna run inside for the sake of proximity, and HP is just absolutely out here on his lead. Now H1 is going to run a little bit inside on the next 2 zones to try and make up some distance, and works out for him into this last section. I'd really like to see him put it on HB's door as he does hit the wall and come back outside that outside clip. Now it's between HB and an OMT. And there it is, guys. HB with a much faster lead run is going to eliminate H1. Up next we have Poolshark and Mr. Moo. And here it is, guys. Pool in the lead, Moo on the follow. Moo's going to get a better jump here. He's going to let Pool back ahead just a little bit as we get into our initiation. Pool nice and smooth here. Moo right on his door. Both drivers a little bit inside there, and they're going to float out as they need their brakes there to stay out of the grass. Both drivers do make it out without a scratch. Moo really close to Pool here. The proximity is phenomenal from Moo. Pool wiggling and wobbling a little bit. The lag's pretty bad here as Pool absolutely killing his line here. Nice and smooth, really solid. I do think the lag is changing the way the line looks on screen just a little bit, but both drivers super solid there. A really nice lead from Pool and a really nice follow from Moo as well. And here we go, guys. Pool on the follow, Moo in the lead this time. We're gonna see if Moo can pull ahead here. A better launch there from Pool this time, but Moo into the initiation does pick up some serious speed, and Pool has some work to do. He's gonna try and get back to Moo's door, and he does it into the second outside zone. Back to the inside here. Pool right on Moo once again. Both drivers absolutely locked in as Moo goes just a little bit inside into that outside zone. And Pool's gonna hit both drivers gonna hit the wall. I can't fault Pool there for hitting the wall as he was going after Moo's line. I'm thinking that's gonna be an OMT, but we're gonna talk to chat. All right, guys, we did talk a little bit about Moo's hit on the wall. We decided it wasn't bad enough to call him out, so we are gonna run the OMT here. Whenever you guys are ready, go right ahead. And here we go, guys. Run number 2 for Pool and Moo. Moo really solid on his launch here. Once again, gonna let Pool back out in front. Both drivers gonna initiate. Moo with a little bit of a weird wiggle there as Pool with a really solid angle here on his initiation and first zone. He's gonna go a little bit inside there, and Moo's gonna put it right on his door. That's going to be a huge point for Moo. As we head back into the next outside zone, Moo right on Pool's door. Super close proximity from Moo. And Pool's going to hit the wall just a little bit here as Moo stays right on his door. Super solid follow driving from Moo. Let's get the drivers back to the start finish and see how they do the other way around. And here we go, guys. Moo back in the lead, Pool back in the follow. Super solid run from both drivers last time around. I feel like Moo had a little bit better of a follow that time as he does hit a little bit of a lead here. He's going to try and pull ahead into the second outside zone, and he does it just a little bit as Pool gets back to his door once again. Moo back to the outside, but Pool is not going down without a fight. He's keeping that proximity up nice and tight. He's going to try and get back to Moo's door into this outside zone, and Pool is going to grip up. And I feel like we would have had an OMT there, but Pool gripping up might be the deciding factor. I'm going to talk to chat once again. All right, guys, and based on Pool straighten, Moo is going to move on into round number 2. That is going to finish off our first round for the invitational bracket. Starting us off in the public bracket, we have PPM, Bart, and Tony. And here it is, guys. Run number 1 of our public bracket. We got Tony in the lead, Bart in the follow. Tony is going to get a nice little lead here. Bart's going to run inside so he can flick nice and wide, build a ton of speed there. He is going to hit the door, but he's going to go out into the grass as Tony does pick up a ton of proximity as Bart running just a little wide out into the grass is devastating here. Bart with some really nice angle on his transition. Is it going to be enough as he bumps Tony once again here on transition? I don't think we can fault Tony for hitting the wall there. It looks like Bart kind of hooked him. So I think we're looking at 2 faults for Bart there between him running a little wide in that first section and then bumping Tony, but we're going to swap the drivers around and see how they do the other way around. And here we go, guys. Bart in the lead this time, Tony in the follow. We're going to see what Tony can do on his follow. Bart is huge on his lead. A big lead in here. Bart is absolutely flying, man. Tony's going to try and make up some lost ground, but Bart had an absolutely insane launch. Tony's going to run it wide through here. He's going to try and make up some lost ground as we get into the deceleration zone, but Bart just putting the absolute clinic of a lead run on Tony, and Tony into the wall twice. I think Bart found a way to force that OMT. All right, guys, easy OMT here. We got Tony back on the lead, Bart on the follow once again. It did look like Bart had his speed situated a little bit better than Tony, so we're going to see if Bart can keep it off Tony's door here as Tony with a super solid lead into the first 2 outside zones. Is it going to be enough for him? Bart is kind of picking on him on transitions a little bit, and Bart did miss 2 outside zones now. A little bit of a gripped up setup, it looks like, as Tony into the wall once again is devastating. Like a little bit more consistency in that outside zone from Tony on his lead. We're going to see what they do as we swap the drivers around once again. All right, guys, drivers are set up the other way around here. Tony with a really solid launch this time. He's going to try and make sure his launch, he doesn't fall back quite as much as he did, but Bart absolutely screaming off that launch, and Tony is going to drop a wheel on the inside there. just trying to keep that proximity all locked in. Tony's gonna over-rotate just a little bit. Bart putting down a really solid lead here. As he does hit all of his clips, we're gonna see how he does as he gets a little bit inside on the outside zone, but Tony's gonna hit the wall, grip up, and bump Bart. It's looking like Bart's gonna move on. All right, guys, and there it is. Bart on into round number 2. After that, we got Brex and Crashout. Here we go, guys. Brex and Crashout. Brex has a solid launch. Brex is just gone. That's absolutely insane. Huge initiation. Crashout's gonna try and catch him as he does float nice through his first outside zone. Brex already hitting his second, and Brex is putting the work on this man right now. Brex is hungry for a dub. Super solid lead up there from Brex. I'm proud of him, man. There he goes out into the outside zone. And a little bit of a correction there from Crashout as he hits the wall and straightens. Things are looking pretty good for Brex based on his lead. Let's see what he can do on his follow. And here we go, guys. Swap the other way around. We got Brex on his follow this time, and it looks like he's... Oh, what was... Then we got some lag. We're going to let him finish it out. Let's see what Brex can do here. A little bit of lag comp. It's looking pretty good for Brex as Crashout does go outside into the grass and into the wall. Brex is going to finish out his run here, and he's going to move on into round number 2. And there it is, guys. Brex is going to move on into round number 2. After that, we have Marvin and Hellboy. And there we go, guys. Marvin on the left. We got Hellboy on the right on the follow. Marvin with a solid launch here. Hellboy's going to try and make up some lost ground as we initiate. I don't know what's going on with this lag right now. This thing is bobbly. But Marvin up there with a super fast and super smooth lead. I am impressed, man. Marvin might be a driver to beat here. A little gem in the public bracket. Absolutely slaying it through that outside zone as well. Really nice initiation from Hellboy there, but the distance is pretty large. We're going to swap these drivers around and see what Marvin can do on his follow. And there it is, guys. Marvin on the follow this time. Hellboy on the lead. Looks like Hellboy did hit the cones just a little bit, but he's going to stay on his launch. Nice initiation. Oh, as Hellboy goes a little wide into the grass. And it is looking good for Marvin, man. We're going to watch Marvin just finish out his lead nice and smooth. And it's looking like he's going to move on into round number 2. And there it is, guys. Marvin on into round number 2. Last but not least here for the first round, we have Astro Beetle versus Perception. All right, guys, here we go. Beetle on the lead. We got Perception on the follow here. Beetle's going to go with a huge flick into his initiation. Plenty of angle there. Perception going to try and make up a little bit of distance here into this first outside. A ton of angle there for Beetle. Beetle's car looks nice and well set up here as he goes into another outside zone. He's got a lot of angle on that thing as he transitions once again. Perception playing it nice and safe here. He doesn't want to hit and cause a spin. But Beetle with a really solid lead here, going nice and deep into his sections. Big angle on his transitions. Oh, and a little bit of hook there from Perception, but it was at the end of the line. I don't know if we're going to fault Perception for that. We're going to put Perception on his lead and see how he does the other way around. And there we go, guys. Perception with a huge launch here. Beetle's going to try and catch him here into the initiation. A lot of work for Beetle to do as Perception with a really nice line. Beetle runs it a little far inside here. Perception nice and wide. Beetle's gonna miss his clips as it looks like Beetle on the follow here is struggling immensely to make up lost ground. Perception much faster as Beetle does hit the wall and straightens just a little bit there. Goes into the inside of that outside zone. And it's looking like Perception is going to move on. We're going to talk with chat to make sure, but I'm thinking Perception's going to move on. And there it is, guys. Perception on into round 2. That's going to finish off round number 1. Heading over here back into our invitational bracket, we're going to have Central versus Enju for round 2. And here it is, guys. Central versus Enju. Battle of the S15. Central in the lead. Enju on the follow here. We're going to see what these guys can do. Central with a solid initiation, nice and wide, plenty of angle. Enju goes a little far inside there. He might have dropped the wall into that inside section. We're looking for the drivers to stay a little bit wider there, but Enju absolutely planted on Central's door. One small fault for Enju as we go back out into the outside zone here. Central nice and solid, Enju right on his door. Both drivers absolutely crushing it. We're going to have them line up the other way around and see how they do. And here we go, guys. Enju on the lead, Central on the follow here. We're going to see what these guys can do the other way around. Really solid initiation for both drivers. Enju's going to pull ahead a little bit. Central's going to surge on him, but a lot more angle on Central is going to make it tough for him to pick up through this section as Enju pulling ahead pretty significantly here. Enju looks like he had the proximity on his follow. Central struggling to catch up just a little bit as he goes a little inside into this outside zone. Much more solid line here from Enju, and it looks like Enju's going to move on. We're going to talk with chat, though, and see if it's an OMT or if Enju's going to move on. And there it is, guys. Enju is going to move on into our semifinals. After that, we have HB versus Moo. Here it is, guys. HB on the lead, Moo on the follow. We're going to see what these guys can do. HB is going to pull ahead just a little bit here on his lead. Moo with a really solid launch is going to stay right on his door in through initiation. Moo really solid here as he goes into his second outside zone. HB into the inside. Moo's right with him here. He's not letting him pull away. Moo gives him a little bit of room on transition, and HB back to the outside. Really solid line from HB. He goes nice and wide, but Moo is not giving him an inch here right on his door. Moo's going to straighten just a little bit. HB with a solid lead. We might be looking at proximity for judgment on this call. We're going to have the drivers line it up the other way and see how they do. And here it is, guys. Moo on the lead this time is going to pull away into initiation. Really solid here as HB is going to try and pull on him. But Moo has the distance. We're going to see if HB can close it. And he does into the inside clip. Into the second half of the line here. We're going to see what Moo can do. He's going to try and pull ahead, but it's not going to work for him. HB looking really fast with a super tight transition, but HB into the wall is going to straighten. And if Moo can finish out this section, Moo is going to move on into our semifinals. All right, guys, and there it is. Moo on into our semifinals. After that, we have PPM Bart versus Brex in our public bracket. And there it is, guys. Brex on the lead, Bart on the follow here. Brex gets a nice launch on him. Plenty of distance here for Brex. We're going to see if Bart can close it on initiation, and Bart goes into the grass. And it is looking good for Brex to move on into the semifinal. We're going to have the driver swap around and see how Brex can do on his follow. And here we go, guys. The other way around. Brex on his follow here is going to pull ahead pretty aggressively on his launch. He's going to need to let my man Bart back out into initiation. And Brex puts it on his door here. We're just looking for Brex to finish out his line without any major faults, as Bart did have a little bit of an error there on his follow. Getting a little bit of the lag wobbles once again, but Brex is going to finish it out and move on into our semifinals. And there it is, guys. Brex on into the semis as well. After that, we have Marvin versus Perception. All right, guys. Marvin and Perception. Here we go. Marvin on the lead, Perception on the follow. Marvin with a solid launch. Marvin's one of my drivers to beat tonight. He's looking really solid. Perception having a pretty solid night as well so far. Perception's going to try and get on his door, but Marvin once again super fast on his lead. As Perception runs a little bit inside, that was a smart move to gain some proximity on him. But Marvin once again super solid. Perception's going to run a bit far inside, and Marvin with an unbelievable lead line as he taps the wall and stays in that outside zone, looking incredible. We're going to have Perception lead and see how these drivers do the other way around. And here it is, guys. Marvin on his follow, Perception on his lead. Perception's going to try and pull ahead this time. Marvin super fast, going to try and get right on that door. And Marvin runs really far inside there. We don't love that from Marvin, but he does use that proximity to his advantage here as we go into the next outside, and a wall tap from Perception. Perception's throwing down a crazy lead, but he does miss that last outside section, as he does tap the wall into this outside section, but it's looking like Marvin might move on here as he's right on his door. I didn't love the fact that Marvin went inside on that initiation zone, but I do feel his lead was better. We're going to talk with chat and see if Marvin moves on or if we OMT that. And here it is, guys. We did vote for the OMT. Marvin was super far inside on his initiation zone, and Perception hit two really nice wall taps as well. So we are going to have these guys run it back. Marvin much better in this section this time as he gets right on Perception's door. Super conservative, but smooth follow as he does hit a little bit of a bump there, catches some air on that front wheel, and Perception's able to use that to his advantage to pull ahead just a little bit, but Marvin working his way back to his door as Perception into that last outside zone. Super smooth here, Marvin with great proximity. This is going to be a great battle. And here it is, guys. Marvin on the lead this time, Perception on the follow. We're going to see what these guys can do the other way around. Perception is not letting Marvin ahead here, not on the launch. We're going to see what Marvin can do, though, in drift, as he does pull ahead a little bit into the first two outside clips, but Perception gets back to his door here on the inside. He does pick up some speed here on Marvin as we go into the decel zone. We're going to see what both drivers can do. Marvin really nice and wide. Oh, and Perception misses his clip. And I do believe that's going to be Marvin on into the next round. We're going to consult with chat here and see if they agree. All right, guys. So after some serious debate here, we are going to move Marvin on into the semifinals, which is going to round us off here. We have Enju versus Moo in our invitational bracket up next. And here we go, guys. Battle for the ages here in the semifinals of our invitational bracket. We got Enju and Moo. Enju's going to enter super fast, super solid, ton of angle. Moo's gonna drop a tire on the inside as he grips up a little too much, and Enju is looking good on his lead here. Moo has a mountain to climb here on his follow. He's gonna see if he can make up some lost ground. It is not looking great for Moo right now. He's gonna need a miracle as he over-rotates just a little bit and straightens. Enju looking really solid on his lead here. We're gonna see what these drivers can do as we swap it around, but as of right now, things are looking pretty good for my man Enju. And here it is, guys. Enju on the follow, Moo on the lead this time. Enju super fast out the gate. Enju in control of his car here with a nice flick. Earlier initiation than Moo, but Moo's gonna be able to pull ahead just a little bit on initiation, and Enju right back to his door. As we hit the inside clip into the outside here, Enju glued to Moo's door. Nice and tight on transition here. And Moo is going to hit his outside zone really solidly, but Enju door taps him out there. And it looks like Enju is going to be our first driver to move on into the finals. And there it is, guys. Enju moves on into the finals. Up next, we have Brex versus Marvin. Here we go, guys. Brex versus Marvin. Battle of the S15s. Brex is going to struggle a little bit on launch here. Marvin with a really solid launch. Brex, nice flick here for initiation. Marvin's going to try and get back to his door as we go outside. Brex really solid on his lead here, hits his clips very well. Marvin's going to grip up a little bit there and run inside. Brex with big points on his lead here on this run. Marvin is going to try and get back outside, back to Brex's door, but Brex with a really nice initiation into that last outside zone. Marvin with great proximity, though. is not going to let Brex go out without a fight here, and we have a really solid battle on our hands. And there it is, guys. Brex on the follow this time. Marvin on the lead. Brex is going to pull ahead on his launch. Marvin's going to get back out in front for his initiation. Brex might have tapped him there just a little bit, but Marvin is going to get out ahead real nicely here. Hits his clips really well on his lead. About the same proximity as Brex had on his lead. Brex is going to get back to his door here through this section, though. And it looks like Brex may move on here. We're going to see how it plays out into the last outside zone. Brex runs really far inside. Better proximity, but I feel like the line might have been lacking a little bit there. We're going to talk to chat here, see if we OMT it, or see if one of these guys is going to move on. And here it is, guys. We did decide on the OMT. Brex with a little bit of a jump there on his launch, but we did feel like Brex had a better line. Marvin probably with better proximity, so we did end up running it back here. Marvin with a lot better angle there on his initiation. Brex, though, keeping that proximity up here as Marvin is going to go into his third outside. Really solid here. Marvin with an absolutely killer lead line. Brex is going to over-rotate a little bit and run inside into that outside zone. Marvin looking really solid here. That's going to be hard to beat. We're going to swap these drivers around and see what Brex can do with his lead. And here it is, guys. Brex is going to need himself a solid lead here if he does want that last spot in the finals. Marvin looking for the follow that'll take him up there to face Enju as Marvin inside. And Brex might be looking at yet another OMT here based on that fault from Marvin. Marvin did it earlier in the comp as well. He ran inside there a little bit. Brex needs a solid lead here to finish it out. And a little bump from Marvin. We're not going to fault Brex there for missing that inside as Marvin did hit him on transition. It looks like we might be looking at another OMT. We're going to talk to chat and we're going to see what the decision's going to be. And we did call that OMT once again here, guys. We got Brex back on the lead. Marvin not letting him ahead, though, as Brex with a nice initiation. Marvin bobbles a little bit and he puts a wheel inside that inside zone again. Marvin struggling there as Brex hits his clips pretty nicely. Marvin with really good proximity. Brex is going to try and pull ahead here. And he does it just a little bit. Marvin's going to try and scoop him back up into this last outside zone. And Brex giving Marvin a run for his money here. Marvin with a little bit of a fault there on that entry. Brex looking pretty solid on his lead. All right, guys, and here it is. Marvin on the lead once again here. Brex with the follow. Brex is looking to stay nice and consistent here. Marvin's going to pull ahead just a little bit as Brex puts the same wheel into the inside zone. And we are back to even as Marvin pulls ahead there. Brex straightens out pretty aggressively. Marvin goes back into this outside. Brex straightens up, grabs the handbrake, and he just barely gets into that outside. He catches him a little bit on transition and slows down. I'm thinking Marvin might move on here. We're going to talk to chat and see what the decision's going to be. All right, guys, and there it is. Marvin is going to move on to face Enju for our finals and our $100 gift card giveaway. And here it is, guys. Final battle for our $100 gift card giveaway. Enju in the lead, Marvin in the follow. Enju solid all night. Really nice initiation. Super smooth, super fast. Picks up a ton of speed into his first outside, into the second. Marvin trying to surge on his door. If anyone can put it on his door, it's going to be Marvin tonight. Marvin's been fast all night. Enju back into the outside here. Really solid stuff from Enju. A couple bobbles there from Marvin, but the proximity is solid. We're going to see what these guys do as we swap it around. Enju's going to grab a follow, and we're going to see how these guys do. And here it is, guys. Enju on the follow this time. Marvin clips the cone a little bit. Is going to slow him down on his launch. Enju looking to get right on his door, straight off initiation, and Enju runs inside. And it looks like we may have an OMT on our hands here as Enju does drop a wheel into that inside. He's going to miss his outside clip. And Marvin may do it as the proximity is a little stronger from Enju, tapping Marvin's door. Marvin a little bit of a tap and straight in there, but Enju on the inside of this outside clip, I'm thinking that's going to be an OMT. I'm going to talk to chat here, and we're going to see what the call is going to be. And there it is, guys. We got the OMT. Enju back on the lead. Marvin on the follow here. Enju's going to pull ahead just a little bit. S15 battle for our finals. Huge initiation from Enju. Marvin's going to try and get back on his door here. Enju back to the outside. Going to hit his inside clip real strong here. Is actually a little bit shallow there. Gets back to his outside really strong here. Marvin not giving him any distance here. Trying to reel him into this last outside section, and he runs inside and has to break up a little bit. That's the only fault we saw from either driver on that run. Super solid stuff from both these guys. We're going to give Enju his second follow. All right, guys, and here it is. Marvin on the lead this time. Enju on the follow. We're going to see if we have a champion at the end of this run. Enju, oh, I caught some lag there. But both drivers make it out nice and smooth. Solid stuff from both drivers. Marvin a little shallow on that second outside. Enju is going to tap him, and then the wall tap from Marvin. Oh, this is about dead even once again here. I didn't love that tap from Enju, but I didn't love that inside entry on the outside zone on Marvin's lead. I'm thinking that's going to be yet another OMT. Here it is, guys. OMT number 3 here for the finals. We got Enju in the lead once again. Marvin on the follow. Nice initiation from Enju once again. Marvin does bobble the car. Enju's going to use that to pull ahead here. Enju gets out into his second outside nice and clean. Back to the inside. Marvin's going to go outside here. Enju back outside once again. and Enju with a really solid start here. Marvin has a nice second half to his follow, but Enju is going to use that to his advantage here to finish out pretty solid here on his lead number 3. We're going to swap these drivers around once again and see what Enju can do on his third follow. Here it is, guys. Marvin on the lead this time. Enju on the follow. Enju with a really nice launch here. Marvin is going to have to do some work here to pull ahead, as Enju with a really solid initiation. He's going to try and keep it outside of that inside zone, and he does it. Hits his outside clip really solidly. Great proximity on Marvin through there. Enju has the edge so far, and he bumps on transition again. And we are 1-to-1 on faults once again. Enju, that transition bump is killing him as he runs inside of that outside zone just a little bit. And it looks like we're going to have to OMT this once again. And here it is, guys. OMT once again. Enju on the lead, Marvin on the follow. Enju's gonna pull ahead into the initiation. Really solid initiation. Marvin's gonna put a wheel into that inside zone. It's looking good for Enju here. Marvin does miss his first outside. A little bit gripped up low on angle there as he hits his next few outsides. Enju's looking really good with a solid execution on his lead here. Really nice and wide into that outside zone. He's gonna stay off the wall, and Enju's looking really good here. Marvin's gonna need a miracle lead as he does drop that one wheel on initiation once again. We're gonna swap these drivers around and see what happens. And there it is, guys. Enju on the follow. I'm sure he's gonna look to play it safe this time. Nice and conservative. Enju's gonna try and finish it out nice and smooth here. Keep those front wheels out of that inside zone, and he rides it perfectly as Marvin does get out into that outside zone really well. Enju right on his door here is gonna give him a little bit of room to transition as Marvin hits the wall a little bit more aggressively than we'd like, and he misses that outside. Enju solid here, all the pressure in the world on Marvin. And it looks like Enju, as he runs a little bit inside here, a little gripped up. I don't love that outside zone. Maybe pulling away here with the championship. We're gonna talk to chat and make a final call, but it's looking pretty good for Enju. And a huge congratulations, guys, to Enju for pulling away here with the championship in today's comp. $100 gift card being given away to this man here. Guys, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys a ton. If you are enjoying these FD competitions and you'd like to be a part of one, make sure you check out the Discord and the Twitch link in the description down below. Be sure to leave a like down below if you did enjoy the video and subscribe for more just like it, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.